Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I'm Dr. Joy. I'm a physical therapist. I specialize in pelvic floor physical therapy, but I also treat orthopedics, so neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, and I do dry needling. So that's kind of a quick about me. I have been a pelvic therapist and just a physical therapist for 8 years now, and I absolutely love it. And so, yeah, I moved to Maryland about 3 years ago for a job, and this is where we're settling down. So I have been enjoying doing these presentations, kind of discussing different things that are going on in the body. And since there's a lot of people that are doing a work from home at this point, figured why not work on some posture stuff, since a lot of people end up looking just like the girl in the photo here. So let's take a look. Quick disclaimer, this is only intended for educational purposes. This is not considered medical advice. If you have any issues or see anything that says, hey, that totally looks like me, I would highly suggest you see a physical therapist. I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. Yeah, but this is just kind of some educational information. So quick things on work from home. So according to the Pew Research Center, 71% of people were working from home as of December 2020. So that puts us, what, 10 months into the pandemic. That's a big majority of people working from home. And because it happened so fast, I can tell you, my husband was at work Thursday. They said, hey, take tomorrow off. We're not sure what's really going on with this thing. We'll kind of figure it out. We'll regroup on Monday. And he never went back to work, and is still working from home. So it happened abruptly. No one was really prepared for it. And the other issue is a lot of people aren't really sure when it's going to stop or when they're going to return to work, if they do. And so with that, a lot of people haven't invested in proper standing stations or proper workstations for home. Maybe we have a computer chair, maybe we have a desk. A lot of people don't, though. They're using the couch, the kitchen table. That's actually what I'll use my demonstration on in here in a little bit, is the kitchen table. So yeah, this is not necessarily set up to be a workstation for 8, 10, 12 hours. So poor posture can definitely lead to things like the neck pain, back pain, hip pain that we're going to discuss today. So some quick and easy tips is going to be, the kind of goal for this, and some exercises as well. So in these two pictures, hello, neck pain. Our friend over here on the left has her head rotated or turned to the side because she's sitting on the couch. She's got her legs up underneath her laptop, working that way. That's definitely going to cause some issues in the neck to prolonged keep the head turned. As where our friend on the right side of the screen is kind of hunched over her laptop. You can see that from her head position, she's not in that nice neutral, but she's actually like tilted up. It just looks different because it's coming from the way her body is sitting. But both of these are definitely going to tend to lead towards neck pain. So with that lovely posture that we get, that'll end up leading us into some stuff like tightness in the muscles in the neck and shoulder area. That's also going to lead to weakness in the front of the neck. But it's not just the neck issue. This is going to feed down into the back. So you can see at the bottom of this picture with this kind of cross syndrome of these X across the body, the pec muscles, the muscles in the front of the chest, are going to end up getting tight. And then the muscles that kind of help stabilize and pull our shoulder blades down and back are going to end up being weak from some of this prolonged posture. So we definitely don't want to do that. The other thing to consider here is that our head, this lovely bowling ball we have that's roughly 10 pounds, every inch forward that head moves, so getting into the posture like the picture here, will increase the load on the spine by 10 pounds. So that's a lot of force. So just a few inches forward and you're putting about 40, 50 pounds of pressure through the spine. Your neck does not like that. That's how we end up with degeneration. And if there is any kind of a disc involvement, this can definitely exacerbate it. So not good. With those neck issues, we're going to end up with things like muscle strain, pinched nerves that can cause some of the numbness and tingling down into the hands, not just carpal tunnel, but you kind of figure out which one is it. Is it coming out of the neck, or is it coming out of our posture with our hands and our elbows? Definitely some headache issues, loss of lung capacity, and that's definitely the picture with our friend here on the right side, with the way that this person is so scrunched over. That's going to help or cause some tightness into the abdominals and some tightness into the diaphragm. So breathing issues there, and even digestive issues. Same idea. basically sitting between our diaphragm and our pelvic floor is our digestive, so our stomach, our small intestine, large intestine, going all the way down to the colon. So it kind of sits in there with a lot of other stuff. And so being scrunched down like that all the time is going to make it harder for everything to kind of work its way through because it has to do it in a more cramped space. So you thought this was just about the neck. It's not. Then we have our back pain and our tailbone pain. So our friend over here on the left side of the screen, the way they are sitting in that chair is actually putting a lot of pressure up in the tailbone. And that's going to cause some of that butt pain or back pain. Our friend on the right-hand side of the screen here, same thing, similar to the previous pictures we saw like this, just kind of that hunched over, rounded spine is going to lead to some discomfort in the back. So definitely postures we don't want to be in, probably postures we all recognize as something we've done before. So what happens? Kind of same thing like the past picture. So sitting is going to increase the stresses on the discs in your back by about 40%, meaning the longer you're there, the more irritated those discs and those nerves can become. The big one here is the sciatic nerve. That's the one we're going to consider. I feel like it's very common that people have heard of sciatica or maybe even experienced sciatica. So that's really just an inflammation or an involvement of the sciatic nerve. It's seen here in the picture, and it is going to run right either under, over, or through the piriformis. So here I wrote it runs under, that's the most common, but occasionally it'll run through it or run even over it. And then it's gonna dive down between the hamstrings. Well, sitting is gonna make both the piriformis, which is a hip muscle that helps rotate our hip, and our hamstrings, just the back of our thigh, tighter. Tight muscles can create some compression on that nerve. The other thing to consider is the pressure of the chair you're sitting on can create compression of that nerve, especially where the chair kind of cuts off like mid-thigh. That can create some of this compression, which can lead to some discomfort. So what do we have to do? What looks correctly? So big things here. Keeping your monitor at eye level. You want to make sure that that monitor is just at eye level, maybe slightly below. So you're looking down with your eyes, not that you have to either look up with your head or down with your head. You want to be sitting upright. So you want to make sure that that back is nice and tall, that we don't look like some of the pictures we've seen where everyone's kind of rounded out. You're going to keep those elbows bent. You don't want to have to be reaching up towards a keyboard. You want to keep the elbows by your side, nice and neutral, with about a 90-degree bend in them. Some low back support is fantastic. This picture shows they have a curve in the chair that's going to help fill that low back space in. A lot of the good ergonomic chairs do have some kind of a lumbar support in them already. So that is ideal. Here you want to keep your knees in line with the hips, or maybe the knees even slightly lower than the hips, but you don't want the knees above the hips. If your knees are above your hips, the first thing I'd say is try to adjust the chair and make the chair a little bit higher. But we have some really easy props that we can use to help with this as well. And the last thing is keeping your feet in contact with the floor. So that is going to help keep those hips and knees in a nice neutral posture, prevent anything like sitting back on that tailbone, and that's going to lead into that pain in the butt. Then we have our standing posture. So same concept as our sitting posture. Still going to keep that monitor at about our eye level or slightly below. We're going to be standing upright, keeping our head, our shoulders, and our pelvis all in line. So you can see that little dotted line through the body is helping just to show keeping everything nice and stacked. Same thing with the elbows. We want them bent about 90 degrees. So honestly, for this person, I back them up just a touch, but they're not too bad. We also want to keep wrists neutral. Same idea. We don't want to be propped up and trying to type like this, because that will lead to some carpal tunnel issues, which can just feel like numbness or tingling or pain in the hands. Shoulders should be relaxed. So when sitting there doing this work, especially if work is stressful, you do not want to let those shoulders come all the way up into your ears. You want to make sure that they are down and nice and relaxed. Keep your knees slightly bent. It's even sometimes nice to kind of shift your weight just from side to side, or put one foot in front of the other and kind of just shift the weight back and forth a touch. Don't want to lock the knees out. It just kind of helps keep everything a little bit more active and a little more comfortable. And then you can even consider standing on something like a cushion mat, just to help get some support so you don't have so much pressure going through the feet and through the legs when you're standing up for work. All right, so Sitting posture that we can easily fix. Some things like placing a rolled up towel behind your back to support your low spine. Sitting on a pillow if you need to bring those hips up a little bit higher. Or even using a small box if your feet are not reaching the floor, keeping in mind that your knees should still be below your hips. So I'm going to demonstrate a few of those things really quick for you. So I'm going to move myself here, and we're going to stop our screen share. Perfect, and you should have a full shot of me. So I'm just going to take my chair, and we're going to back it up. So first thing I do is I just take a simple towel. So something really easy you have around the house. I just kind of roll this up, and you can see my chair has absolutely no support. Thank you, IKEA. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to sneak it right behind my back. And that's going to help while I'm working on my computer that I can keep everything in a better position. So here, I may even want to put a small box under the laptop to bring it up to my height, keeping in mind the position of my elbows. From there, if I feel like I am too low, I can take just a simple cushion, right? Take a pillow, plop it on my chair, especially if it does become uncomfortable on those butt bones, and take a seat. So, not too bad. Then we're going to go over some standing stuff since I'm already here. You can do something simple like grab a box. Take that box. If you don't have a standing station at home, I'm going to turn my kitchen table into a standing station. So just get rid of my chair. And now I have myself a standing station. Again, I'd probably get a box a little bit taller than this one, but be able to put myself in that good position. I may even pick up, like Target or Five Below have these lovely exercise mats. And so I may even take one of these, roll it out on the ground, and be able to stand on a cushioned mat while I'm standing here working at my computer. So box was free, came from the house. We happen to have this and a yoga mat. Both of them work really well. Had a towel on hand and a pillow from the couch, and I can make myself both a good ergonomic station for my sitting or my standing. So let's go back to our presentation. So we're gonna share the screen one more time, and we'll get back to review a few things. Perfect. So, yep, just use that towel roll right behind the low back. It's also nice because if you start to round out, you're gonna actually feel it touch your back. It's gonna kind of remind you to sit back upright, bring those shoulders and everything back into that proper position. Standing posture, like we talked about, use a box to help just pick up your computer, get it a little bit taller. I do actually have a patient that I've been working with, and we had to talk a lot about her posture because of her back and hip pain. And she's like, I have a desktop. And I was like, okay, well, it's gonna take a lot of boxes, and let's see what happens. And she was able to, thank you, Amazon, collect a few different boxes. She was able to lift up her monitor, was able to lift up her keyboard, mouse, and has been able to do both a standing and a sitting setup without having to buy anything big and expensive. But if you happen to invest in a standing station, no problem. And then same thing, kitchen mat or yoga mat, something just to give you a little bit of cushion under the feet is perfect. So now we go into those stretches that you can do throughout your day. I will say a lot of these stretches are things, if you've ever been in therapy before, you've probably been taught, but maybe not quite like this. Maybe you have. I love functional stretching personally, meaning I like stretches I can do anywhere. I have no excuse as to why I can't be doing my stretches. So piriformis is that muscle we talked about earlier with the nerve that runs through it. Hamstring was the same thing. And even a low back stretch that's really nice to do, all from your desk. So let's back you up one more time. And we're gonna go back this way. So easily I can sit in the chair, I can cross my leg, take my nice upright posture, and I can just lean forward and get a nice pull out in my hip. From this position, I can actually stick my leg out straight, just like the second photo. Again, keeping a nice tall posture straight back, just like she has, and I can lean forward. I can do this while still typing at my computer. So no reason to have to stop what I'm doing for work. I can keep doing this if I need to. And then even I can take my desk, I can put my arms out on my desk, and I can bend over and get a good stretch. I can even walk my hands to one side to get a better stretch, and then walk my hands to the other side to get some nice lengthening through my back here. The next few are going to be nice because they're going to let us get up and walk away from the computer just a minute. Sub-Pectoralis Stretch. Find a doorway, find a corner, just something that we're able to get those arms up on, and we're able to do a nice pull through the front. Keep in mind, as we're working on a computer, we are so rounded out here. It's really nice to just get some nice opening through the chest. After that, really simple. Just letting that ear drop over to the shoulder should give you a nice pull in the neck and shoulder on the other side. We can even use a hand if we need a little bit of an overpressure for more stretching, but keep it pain-free. Once we finish that side, we'll go and do the other one. And then because we did touch on carpal tunnel and that idea of using the keyboard so much and potentially starting to get some weakness in our hands, trying to open a jar, maybe with typing, things like that, we're going to do some wrist flexor and extensor stretching. So something as simple as palms together and pressing. Or you can even just do one at a time, and you should feel a pull right down in here. Then the opposite, pulling that hand down. Should give you a nice pull on top. Easy stuff. You can do them right at your desk. Don't have to go anywhere except for that pec stretch. But again, it's a nice time to take a break, walk around the house a little bit, maybe grab some new water, go to the bathroom if you need to. Then we have some posture resets. So after we've stretched out some of the tight stuff, we need to work on some strength in the back side. So the first one's just a shoulder blade squeeze. Nice because again, you're doing it where you're sitting. It's just to squeeze those muscles together, trying to pinch the shoulder blades together and relax. Not much is going on. Your arms and hands don't have to do anything. They're just kind of going along for the ride. Everything should be coming from the shoulder blades. Then to combat that lovely, kind of rounded forward posture, we're going to try to kick in some neck muscles. So this exercise, we're not letting the chin drop down to our neck. We're trying to pull straight back. So what that means is we're not going to take the chin and drop. We're going to take the chin, kind of keep it level. We're pulling straight back. So it should actually give you probably more of a double chin like the picture shows, because you're just pulling straight back, not down to the chest. This is also nice to do it in the car if you happen to be in the car, or if you happen to have a high office chair that you are sitting in, you can kind of press against that office chair. It's a nice feedback for your head. I do about 20 of these whenever I stop and take a break just to kind of work on some posture reset. Squeezing those shoulder blades, doing my chin tuck or my cervical retraction, just kind of pulling my head back. Helps kind of get everything moving a little better. Other key things to remember is just taking a break. Ideally, you should be getting up and walking around every 30 minutes. Just trying to stretch, arms over the head. A couple of these stretches from here are great. Give your body some, blood flow because everything kind of gets stagnant the longer you sit. Other thing you should do is give your eyes a rest. So like I said, it's 20 seconds for every 20 minutes of screen use. Look somewhere else, let your eyes kind of reconfigure, come back to the screen. Save yourself from becoming too visually impaired like the rest of us at the end of the days. And then the last thing is just to extend. Take some time to get some water, stretch, go to the bathroom, move around the house, walk away from the stress of work or the busyness of work. It will wait the extra couple minutes that you need to go take care of it. Any questions? This is your time.
Hey, Joy. Just, I guess a quick question from me. Is this like a multiple times a day these stretches are recommended, or is it like a once a day thing? What's the best kind of course, for these type of stretches?
Yeah, I do them about 3 times a day.
Okay.
So within your 8-hour workday, yeah, maybe every 2 hours would be a good time frame. As long as you're not having pain or creating pain, you can stretch. It's tough to overstretch. The only time you're really overstretching is if you're creating new issues or new pains. So if you're doing these and notice pain, but you shouldn't. So I'd say, yeah, about 3 times a day would be perfect.
Okay. I mean, one of the main reasons why I wanted to take this was because I noticed that I was starting to like have like lower back pain I've never had before, and
Mhm.
I bought like a chair and everything, and it was still there. So I was like, do I need to go to a doctor, or do I just need to stretch more? So yeah, I mean, I'm not typically one I never really stretched before. Usually when I was in the office, I'd walk around all the time, take those breaks every 30 minutes. When I was home, I never did any of that like the past 10 months. So it's
Yep.
like I'm not sure if doing the stretches will be able to undo maybe some of the damage that I started to do, or if I should already go see a doctor before doing that, like, should I try it for like a few months and see what happens? So, okay.
Yeah, I think so. A general rule with anything that you start new like this is that you should
Mhm.
see some pretty good results within 3 or 4 weeks, and that's
Okay.
any treatment anywhere.
Right.
So if you implement these changes and you implement these stretches, and in about 3 weeks or so, you don't feel any different, nothing's getting better, I would definitely get it checked out.
Okay. Gotcha.
I will say that if as long as there wasn't an injury, if it was just that kind of concept of I've been working from home, my lifestyle changed a little bit because I'm not doing what I used to do, but I didn't
Yeah.
go out and do something that caused an injury. You
Right.
don't necessarily have to see a doctor or physician first. There's not a need for imaging um, because there shouldn't be any injury. There's no mechanism that would have caused damage. It's
Right.
likely muscles are doing things they haven't been used to, or they're not moving and getting stretched out like they should.
Right.
And so that's where you get something like a physical therapist can be a great place to start. And in Maryland, we have direct access, so you can come right to a PT without needing to see a physician first. And sometimes we're a little bit easier to get in with
Right.
than the physicians are.
Right. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thanks. I
Yeah, no
appreciate you
problem.
doing this.
Yeah, anytime. And it's recorded, so I'll send it to you. And then I also do have a PDF that has the two posture with all the different reminders of, keeping the shoulders down, keeping the computer in line. And then it has the stretches with the instructions there. So I'll email that out as well. So
Very
you can
good.
kind of
Appreciate it. Thank you.
print it, put it up by your computer, and then remind yourself that if in 3 weeks you are still having pain, my number's on the bottom. You can give me a call.
All right. Will do. Thank you, Joy.
Makes life easy. Um, any other questions?